Right, 962. I've probably spent the last, well, apart from the last couple of weeks being ill, I've probably spent the last probably 6 weeks not doing much on this car, to be honest. Constantly prepping my car for the show and to do the front motor plate, but one thing we did do was yesterday I did excuse me, I did get the skim down the front door edge. We had the rear part of the door done for the passenger side, 0.5mm feeler gauge. We get a tight in places, but mainly a gap all the way around. Like I said before, I'm not going to leave the door at a 0.5mm gap, because you'll probably lose a 0.5mm to 0.75mm when you paint it. But it's nice to have the door gaps really tight to start off with, and once all the panelling's done, then I can open up the gaps to sort of 2.5, 3mm. Now obviously we have the front done as well, so I've extended the front out, so we're all in here. We can click all the way to there, so we now have a gap, and obviously we can open and close the door as we be. Just another stage. We've still got lots of work to do. There's no two ways about it. It's not bad from there. We need to build this bit up a little bit just to flow into that properly, but we've still got some work to do. A little bit at a time. So literally did it yesterday, so got up early and got some work in there. So but obviously the wings have come, so we can now see the fun stuff, shall we say. Wing is very nice. I must admit, I'm really happy with it. It's quite deep. Its chord is 420, if I'm right. Let's get the tape measure out. Oh, I've got a Canadian tape measure. It doesn't have metric on it, but there you go. We have a chord depth of, there you go, 16.5 inch chord depth. So it's not exactly what you call small, but I think a small wing would have probably looked a little silly on a car that's 2 meters wide. So we're in about 30-40mm from either side, which is cool. Actually, the long tail models actually had a kind of, you could see a step here before the pylon comes up to it, so it's probably exactly the same width as a long tail anyway. Some of the short tails, the short range racing mode, they would have took it up to the extremes and took it right up to the edge. But this is, an inch or so back from either side, so which is good for roadworthiness. They don't want to see anything sticking too far out. So we'll put a plate there. We're not going to join it to the bodywork, it's going to be separate. Yes, more wood. No, I'm not using it for some dumb idiot comes up with that, oh yeah, MDF's not fine. Well, it's not MDF, it's plywood, and it's birch plywood as it happens, but there you go. So, just temporary on. Bolted to the gearbox. Was originally going to use this 1/4 inch thick aluminium, but I think it's got too much flex, especially the wing could produce a lot of downforce. So what we're basically going to use is 3/8 thick aluminium. I can knock most of the weight out of it, but the plate here was designed to be only a 1/4 inch spacer. The spacer I made for this particular mount was 1/4 inch, so we'll have to machine it down like we've done here, back to 1/4 inch on there. That's fine, that bolts straight up to there. So, but that's sandwiched in between the suspension, so but that's still doable. Needs a bit of relief cut here. Obviously in wood it bends, but aluminium won't. So we need to cut this back possibly a little bit to miss where this section of the casting is. The mounts are too narrow. The distance between those two mounts is only like 150, 160mm, whereas really the distance, the width between the gearbox is like 275. So the mounts aren't exactly in the right position for us at the moment. But yeah, again, that's not a problem. We're going to end up not worrying too much about blocking some of the airflow underneath here to reduce the effectiveness of the wing. So what we're going to do is cut these blocks off here, and we'll rectify. We're going to paint the wing anyway, so we can rectify and not have to worry too much about it. So we'll cut the mounts off, and then we'll make some billet aluminium mounts on either side that we can probably bolt from the side outwards instead of the inside. So and those billet mounts will then epoxy, and we'll put some, not 8 through, we'll put some decent sized rivets in the wing, and we'll epoxy and rivet the plates to there. So I'll do some nice profile work on those. More likely to mount mainly on this bolt hole here. The front one I've done for the show, but to be honest, we'll probably, let's go around here. Oh, there. Okay, that's the rear bolt there. That will probably stay on the plate, but the front one I've done on the plate for the show, but to be honest, this piece here will probably come off. And then the front one we'll want to put on some form of an actuator, so we can pivot the wing about the center of that. If you look kind of here, that's close to the center of the wing, or it's definitely close to the front, so we can afford to move up and down on the back. So the wing is very big. I don't want to lower the wing down too far, because then you're going to get in the way of kind of where the tail lights are, and I don't want to obscure the tail lights in any way. Obviously the number plate will attach to the back of here. So I don't want to bring it too low, but I want to put it completely in free air, because obviously this thing can produce a lot of downforce. That's quite an aggressive profile as well. Max speed, this thing's probably making, oh, I don't know, there was a 12-inch wing that was making, and free air figures was making about 400 kilos downforce at 200 miles an hour. This thing could easily be 600-700 plus. That would be too much. So we've kept it as far, brought it as far forward as I dare. Any further forward than that, it's going to be awkward to put the clip on and off. Don't want to pivot the wing back just to remove the clip. I've brought it as close to the rear wheels as I can and lowered it to a point I could probably come down a little bit. But since I put it on, I haven't had a hand to take the rear clip on and off, so I need to do a few trials of that. So I've left sort of 2 inches between the back of the clip and where it relieves here, so I can move the clip backwards. But yes, anyway, we've got some development to do on that. I've got an idea for a hydraulic pump, which we may use for the suspension and for an active wing system. So I still got to work my way around that one. Probably got some prototyping to do on that to make sure that works. The one pump I got at the moment is only rated at about 350 psi. But we'll still see if I can get that to work. But we'll need a distance measuring device, so we can actually control the cylinder on both directions. So I can put the wing at whichever angle you want. We'll have feedback to probably a small PLC, obviously, because this car's running the Porsche ECU, so that's not going to be any good to control external devices. So whether we throw a very, very cheap ECU at it that can do this stuff, so we have a second ECU just for controlling other stuff, or we have a little PLC, throw a little Micrologix unit in there of some sort. That's some stuff to develop. We can put fixed adjustable, sorry, not fixed adjustable, that's the wrong thing. We can put some adjustable tie rods in there for the moment to hold the front point up, and then make them into hydraulic actuators afterwards. So you got some playing to do with, today, to see what works. What we could do, the idea being, is when the car's probably only just in a positive situation at the moment, a zero angle will basically put a level from the top point here to there. At zero is lowest, and then 1 or 2 or 3 degrees up, you gain more downforce. What we want to do is actually put it into a negative dive when we get to higher speed. So yes, we've still got the drag affected by the wing, but I don't want too much downforce that's then going to try and lift the front nose of the car, because we're pivoting the weight or pushing the weight behind there. The underfade diffuser will take some downforce, but effectively, because we've raised the car up 2 inches so that it gets it to a decent road height, I don't know how effective the under tray is going to work, because we've raised the car up. It's very sensitive to the floor, so it's an awkward balance. We've got to do some testing at speed to do that, so we've got to go on a track of some sort and find some more airfield. you know, you can't just throw stuff at it and expect it to work. You've really got to do some testing to make sure it's safe at those higher speeds. Road speeds, you know, it's never going to be a problem. But, you know, 100 miles an hour, 150 miles an hour, you've really got to make sure you've got aero balance, otherwise it's going to be nuts. So what we can do is we dial the wing back when we get too fast to make sure we don't have any push on the back that gains lift on the front. So we got some playing to do once the car's finished. Not much, but we want to just make sure that it's safe. And obviously, if we've got a pivot in the centre of the wing here from that thing, we could dial the thing up and have it as an air brake. Now, to do the slow adjustments, that's really easy. We can just do that in an electro motor, and there's loads of those about now. That's going to take the force that's needed to dial the wing back or to dial the wing up a little bit. Say if we're on a short track, we're not going to do a huge amount of speed. We can dial the wing to up 3 or 4 degrees from cockpit. But for an air brake, it needs to be fast. It needs to act fast and then come back fast. Well, speed with power is awkward. Slow speed with power is easy. Fast speed, but with holding power so it doesn't collapse back, is not so easy. So still work to be done. Anyway, yes, the Porsche, so rear wing, was just started to mock up. Going to do some clean up now for the next week. So I'm taking both cars to the show. So I need to take it apart and we'll excuse me. We'll get the chassis blasted and we'll do the paint thing again. So which is easy, just hand it over and they put some basic paint on it for me. It wasn't too much, like $150 to my car, which is kind of cool. But yeah, we need to strip this now, and I've only got a week realistically of my time to do it. So I've just been ill. It's been horrible. Bronchitis is a real pain in the arse. It's out of breath. Anyways, there you go. Speak to you soon.